July 21st, 2014.
Star Trek has never really relied on a traditional format when it comes to the serialized story, with the exception of teasing the truth up until about the end of the season. Even Lower Decks followed that largely with the first 4 seasons, but in the 5th and final season, they've kind of taken a little bit of a back seat to that, but they're still taking us for a ride. Let's dig into these 3 episodes. This is Treknicity.
Welcome to Treknicity, a Star Trek podcast, where we do the deep dive, again, on all things Star Trek. I'm your host, Patrick Murray. With me are my co-hosts, Mike Raper, joining us from Greensboro, North Carolina, and Lars Descenza. Lars Descenza, I can't talk today, in California, hoping for the best.
Howdy. Yeah.
I'm breaking them already. I am good to go.
Yeah, you win the internets today.
Yep, I'll win them tomorrow too. Yes.
I don't know. I was on a Discord server today chatting, and I got to actually throw out and play the D&D Red Box card today. I'm so old. My first foray into D&D was the red box.
Yep, that's what we had too.
1986.
Thaco was a new concept.
That was new Thaco. That's the red. We're talking the basic D&D.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah, I know.
The 2 little
Thaco.
Books.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, in this episode, we're going to review episodes 3, 4, and 5. Okay, from season 5 of Star Trek Lower Decks, entitled "The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel," "A Fair Word of Farms," and "Starbase 80," respectively. We're going to do our good, bad, and ugly, and yeah, there's very little ugly here, except for maybe a certain part B-plot in one of these episodes, and what happens on Boimler's chin. So let's get into it. But first, we kind of need to do some retractions from the last episode because some of us didn't quite get it right.
Some of us, as in like 2 of the 3 of us.
Yeah, not the one who's being an asshole here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll take my one. Apparently, I said that the USS Titan was an Akira class, but it wasn't. It is a Luna class, and I'm sorry, Sean, the designer of the Luna class. Yeah, but anyways.
Yeah, I'll own mine. One of our listeners, Brian, pointed out that I said that the Enterprise C that we saw on screen was designed by Andy Probert. It's not quite true. He did design an Enterprise C as a concept, and that was taken and changed by Rick Sternbach into what you see on screen. So, Andy, Rick, sorry for messing up your designs. Brian, thanks for sending us in the note.
I like how you say one of our listeners. It's technically true, but it's probably the one listener.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the 2.
One of the 2.
We're down to 2 now.
Wait a minute. It's Tuesday, okay? So by Wednesday it might go up to 3. I don't know.
The rate we're going.
I did. There's something I wanted to ask. And the thing is, maybe we should ask Rick Sternbach to come on, because I want to find out whether or not the ambassador class that we see on screen was an actual redesign of Andy Probert's original drawing, or if it's a kit bash, because it looks kind of like a kit bash.
It does.
Well, I'm sure if we get Andy, he'll tell us one way or another, and then correct us when we're wrong.
Which is always, we love you, Andy.
Yes, so very much. Either way, let's get into it. So, first episode, we're going to talk about, the best exotic nanite hotel. Yeah, that bitch Jennifer's back. Apparently, the A-plot is she starts out with us thinking that she still thinks that Mariner's her girlfriend. Ultimately, it turns out she's just messing with Mariner to get closure because Mariner just ignored her rather than properly just breaking up with her. Ultimately, after fighting the nanites that are mentioned in the title.
Oh, yeah. Before we go any further, we probably should give that warning. Sorry.
Yeah. If you haven't watched this one, what's wrong with you? We're doing reviews of these.
Yeah,
So,
we're doing reviews
spoiler
of
alert.
an episode from 3 weeks ago. Now, probably 4 weeks ago by the time this comes out.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Starbase 80, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Okay. After the title nanites go full icosahedron and start tearing things up on the what is it? The resort station. They end up having a nice moment where Mariner admits she just kind of avoids bad things because that's what she does, but she wants to get better at it. And Jennifer admits that she's just a complete bitch for just wanting Mariner for a bad girl and completely ditching on her when it mattered. So, yeah, they grow. It's awesome. B plot: Boimler and Ransom and Billups saddle up to chase after an AWOL admiral. Boimler manages to leave the longest Boimler scream of them all, paranoid that Ransom is just chewing up ensigns. Oh. And ultimately, after some Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now, we find out that the Admiral's just sad because he's just getting assignments milking space whales all the time. And ultimately, he gets a better purpose in the end after Boimler gets all slippery and thinking. Gets him a job dealing with the plot of the season, the season, which is basically an Intrepid class ship from a tiny parallel universe has come through one of those portals and was behind the whole thing.
Yep.
So,
the one thing about this, I mean, to be honest with you, I remembered that Jennifer wasn't there and that they weren't a thing anymore, but I completely forgot that they didn't really officially end things. So I was kind of like, what's going on here? And then she's like, oh, I'm just messing with you because we never truly broke up. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. It was good closure. I liked it. I still hate Jennifer. Not as much, though.
So how about You're Good, Bad, and Ugly, Patrick?
Bad Jennifer always. But other than that, it's pretty much all good. I don't think I can call any ugly here. I mean, everything's clicking. Talin's awesome. That's important for the next 2 episodes. And yeah, everybody's doing something awesome, and we're enjoying all of the crew.
I'm with like there isn't really anything ugly for me this episode. The whole kind of Apocalypse Now thing going on with the Admiral was kind of neat. And of course, you get that closure because, the one thing we talk about a lot is the fact that what we're seeing a lot of in this final season is less of that serialized story, which takes place largely, which pretty much focuses the entire season, is that plot that is broken up episodically. And then we're now seeing a lot of character development towards the end. So I guess, doing it so they can prep us for that ultimate finish line, which comes in about 5 weeks' time.
I thought it was mostly good. I think if I had to pick, what I think of as good, bad, and ugly, the good is definitely continued character development, especially for Mariner and Boimler, which it feels like that's, where the season is going. It's like we're in the 5th season. We have to get these characters to the end of where they're supposed to be, which is going to be, effective, good, genuine Starfleet officers. So you can tell that that's kind of like where they're going with this. Bad, nothing too bad. I did think that some of the plot with the Admiral was a little heavy-handed, a little silly, that he's just going to go AWOL on a giant resort space station, just resign, dude. You can do that as an officer. You can resign your commission. You don't have to go and hide. So that was a little strange, but nothing really ugly with it. I will say that if you have been listening to us at all over the past few episodes, we recently did an episode where we discussed all things money in Star Trek. And this episode brings up money again, where the Admiral mentions that he has a tab at this station. So here we are with money showing up again in this supposedly post-scarcity environment.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that we see that again in the next episode.
We do.
So let's get to that one. Episode 4 is a yeah. I cannot talk tonight. A farewell to farms. Our favorite Klingon captain, now former captain, Maan, is back, except that he's stuck on his family farm making blood wine with his brother. Boimler and Mariner show up with his brother. They go to deal with the fact that he got thrown out of the fleet. It turns out he was thrown out of the fleet primarily because the guy in charge of the keeping people in the fleet is the brother of the captain he killed to take command of his ship. Ultimately, he learns that his honor can be gained by working together with the crew. His brother joins him. Boimler is fangirling incessantly about Klingon minutia to the point he's getting excited. He gets to get hit with pain sticks.
Yeah.
I think Boimler's gone to 11 here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's kind of like I see a lot of your personality in it. It's like when you latch onto something, when you get invested in something, you go like 110% into it, even if it's not something that you particularly care about. Once you have invested time into it, that's it. It's like you soak it all up. So it's the same thing. I saw it with Boimler.
Yeah, it was awesome. And ultimately, the whole point was Mariner needed to do some scans in Klingon space of some of those subspace of the rifts that they're seeing that are popping up throughout the season. That was the whole tie-in. And the problem was the stonewalling guy that Maan, ultimately, when he got stabbed by the guy, he just killed him. And we got our Pepto blood splatter all over the place. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful. Because Pepto blood.
Yep, Pepto Klingon blood. So for the good, bad, and ugly portion of this episode, we had the whole Klingon side of things. Now, for me, what I really liked about this is, one, I learned more about Klingon culture that we didn't know before, or at least wasn't as prominent, and that was the blood wine is made from the worms. And then we get a call back to the TNG episode where Worf does his I think it's correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys will, but I thought it was like the Rite of Ascension, where he goes through the whole gauntlet with the Klingons and the pain sticks and the holodeck. It was something that Dr. Pulaski, I think, kind of engineered. For him to be able to experience, and Wesley was there, and I think Data and maybe Geordi was there. But anyways, we got to see it. I see another version of that again, which was kind of neat. And then again, you mentioned the Pepto-Bismol blood. Fun fact on that is that the reason why the Klingons have Pepto-Bismol blood goes back to Star Trek VI, and when they were doing the movie, they actually had like red blood for the Klingons. But the censors, the MPAA, said, nope, too much blood. If you leave that in like that, we're going to hit you with an R rating. Of course, back then in 1991, having an R-rated Star Trek movie was out of the question. So they had to do something. They said, look, what if we change the color of the blood? And I said, yep, that's fine. If you do that, then you're fine. And they do that, we get the Pepto-Bismol blood, and they carry that on through. Of course, the funny thing is that they completely ignored that in TNG.
Everywhere else.
Yeah. Like everywhere else, like the other TV shows, they completely ignore it. But like Lower Decks has shown us through all 5 seasons, is that this is nothing, if nothing else, is an absolute love letter to this series, or to the entire franchise.
While taking the piss.
Yes, at the same time, which is great. The B plot.
Yeah. Let's just get to that. The bad and the ugly. The entire damn B plot, except for Tendi chopping. It's basically all about Miglimo and some Cloacan food critics who come on board. Their whole culture is about food, and these two have lost their ability to taste things literally because they're shown up when they are served replicated shit when they get home and think it's awesome.
I think
that was
funny.
it.
I actually thought it was kind of funny. I think if there was any good portion of the B plot other than Tendi being the chopping machine is them actually getting served replicated crap. That was funny, and they're like, "Oh, that is crap." Like, it looks like food, but it's and it smells like, and so they know that they're faking it, and of course, Miglimo gets to get his psychobabble on and do his
food puns.
Yep,
incessant food puns.
Yep. So
they ran that into the ground.
Of course, yeah.
And then they dug a hole.
Yeah,
and kept going.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty much exactly what Lars, what you said, the good, all the stuff with the Klingons. You find out more about Klingons here than I think anywhere else. And I'm trying to think, you guys might have to correct me. They really don't ever show anything on the Klingon homeworld that's not in the capital. Like, this is the first time I remember ever seeing like a farm.
Because you got to have this in Klingon culture. There's got to be people that farm.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they have to be.
Run water reclamation.
Yeah, and they discussed that in the episode Enterprise where Archer is on trial, where his attorney is like, "What did you think we were all warriors? We got doctors, we've got teachers, we've got artists, we've got attorneys." So that was kind of cool to see, that aspect of it. But yeah, the B plot, first of all, was just the whole plot was just kind of like stupid, and the food, the incessant food jokes, to me felt like the Family Guy chicken fight, where it just goes on too long. It's like it stopped being funny 5 minutes ago.
And it's still going.
To be fair, the first time it was really funny just how far they went.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was absurd.
And then it was, okay, that's funny again. And then, oh, we're doing another one of these. Oh, that's, okay, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go with the fourth one.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, imagine if The Simpsons had a bit like that. Ugh.
Yeah. I will say this, there is one thing I think that this B plot was really intended to do, and that was to kind of give a little bit of character development and closure for Miglimo.
Sure.
Because we're seeing this for a lot of characters. I mean, this is, this was was Ma'az kind of closure as well. I mean, he was a B character, but at the same time, they brought him back. They used him, gave him some closure, and kind of did all that at once. So they seem to be working really hard to give characters closure towards the end. I mean, I have no idea how it's going to play out, which is good, but at the same time, it's kind of like, this seems to be the direction they're going.
Yeah, and this episode, I think we talked about this offline. Was very much a filler sort of episode, and I do wonder if they've done some things here that, as we start getting toward wrapping up the plot, and the big, whatever the plot's going to be, the big conflict at the end of the series, whether or not this will be called back to, like, do the Klingons show back up? Mm-hmm. Was this set up to give him his captaincy back so that he can show back up and, help out with something? Don't know.
I hope so.
Klingon nepotism at its finest.
Yep. Last thing, one ugly, no T'Lyn.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. T'Lyn.
But again, this goes back to what I just said about giving characters closure. I wonder if they're focusing less on bringing her into the plot, because they kind of did give her closure back in episode 2. When she's helping Rutherford with the shuttle. She's learning about, she learned that it wasn't about actually fixing the shuttle. It was about doing something together and enjoying the process.
Then why wasn't she working with Tendi and Rutherford to do cooking? Just have her in the scene. She says one logical line and move on.
Yeah, this is your Ortega's bit from season 2 of Strange New Worlds again.
I really hope they don't Ortega's her. Here, let's stick her in. We'll put it in here for the one thing that she does.
Hey.
Yeah.
I still want my Ortega's episode. Okay, let's get to the last episode. We're going to talk about Starbase 80. Ooh, sorry. I've just been distracted by all the gel. All the gel. T'Pol levels of gel, in fact.
Yeah, we all know that scene in Enterprise was literally designed to sell the sex. I mean, come on.
It's extra lubey sex.
Yeah, episode 1, they're showing Tucker slip the fingertips just below the seam of her or the waistband of her shorts, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Come on. We know we're doing this. Look, and
we were doing that back then.
I wanted to point this out. In this picture that you see on the screen here, I thought for a second that Rutherford had vitiligo, because you can see where he's touching his stomach. It looks like it's like white skin, like pigmentless skin. But no, it's just it's the gel itself. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Okay, so this one starts off with the Cerritos coming back from an ocean planet, when suddenly their navigation goes to hell. Unfortunately, that navigation going means they're stranded, so they have to limp to the nearest starbase, which is the Starbase 80.
Yeah, but doesn't Mariner even, like, they say, she's like, is there anywhere else we can go? And he's like, well, if we go at full impulse, we can get to this other deep space somewhere. I think it was like Deep Space 6 or something like that. And we can get there in like 400 years. And she's like, yeah, let's do that, please. Anything but that, anything.
Yeah. And then, of course, she gives us the extra extended, no!
And that's all the time we have for this. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Tune in next time for the rest of this episode.
Yeah, we'll just start. We'll just start episode. We'll just start episode 7 with you going.
We can do that. Okay, so they limp to Starbase 80, go through gelling up because apparently the transporters aren't safe for. I'm not sure. I forget the exact line, but they're not safe for biological life. So Mariner, of course, is panicked because she's convinced that Starbase 80 is cursed. They meet, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, the commander of the station or diplomat of the station. Who knows? It's Starbase 80. And she's in an Enterprise era uniform, of course. We find out that most of their architecture is original Trek style. They have deck plate. They have gravity plating. Their engineering section's upside down, and they've got vendors because their food supply is gone. So they got food vendors instead of replicators.
Yeah, I mean, when you break this down into our good, bad, and ugly, I think one of the best parts of this entire episode for me was the callback to all of the old tech, the engineering computer, which was the old style from original series, the handheld turbo lift, the hand operated turbo lift controls,
Wallcoms,
the wallcoms, yeah, and of course the Enterprise era jumpsuits, which were just hilarious. I mean, I'm like, okay,
and don't forget that one gift shop where they had where I think I watched them going through all the Easter eggs there, and it took several minutes just to get through everything because there was so much. But ultimately, the A plot is Mariner trying to figure out Mariner and her Starbase 80 gang, because the regular gang starts becoming wall-licking zombies, and she's convinced it's the 80 curse. They find out it's actually an anaphasic lower decker not the sex candle ghost, basically got into one of the whales in Cetacean Ops when he was on the planet in that mission. And we learned the lesson that really Starbase 80 is about second chances, and this weird group of people are just that they're there and they're making the best with what they've got.
Pretty much.
The B plot's Freeman and Ransom wandering around looking for the chief engineer. Ultimately, he's trying to get them to help him repair the station because the station's a disaster area. And Freeman realizes Starbase 80 and the Cerritos both often get the short end because they're the more forgotten ones. Although Starbase 80 is a lot more forgotten than the Cerritos. Yeesh.
True, but it is a good, it's a good comparison. You can kind of put them side by side and say, okay, both of these places are for second chances, and yeah, I think they did really well with it. One thing I did want to note, the engineer, so Ransom and Freeman get run all over the place. Basically, this guy, the chief engineer of the station, basically tricks them into going to these different places on the station to fix things that he hasn't been able to fix himself. So it's been kind of like, every time they get to these different places, they find him again, pretending to be somebody else. They're like, oh yeah, no, the guy you're looking for is up over there, and it's like. And they finally realize that he's just messing with them. And I thought it was funny, but it was cool because the character was voiced by none other than Stephen Root, which was, that was fun.
My daughter clocked that one, and she just happened to be in for the episode. She recognized his voice immediately.
Yeah. As soon as I heard his voice, I thought to myself, we could play dodgeball.
If you could, what was the line? If you
can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, but there was another one that we talked about offline. It was you can dodge a phaser, you can dodge a ball or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you can dodge a spanner, you can dodge a ball. But either way, it was still good.
Could it be a Hydro Spanner? I'm sorry, wrong series.
Wrong franchise.
I always like Star Wars better anyway.
Of course you did.
Okay. But yeah, I would say in this one, I'm just going to jump in the goods. Mariner storyline, solid. All the references are solid. Freeman and Ransom, that's absolute fun. No real bad and ugly, except for one thing. Still no T'Lyn.
Again, I told you, it's probably because they're wrapping it up as much as many characters as they can, and they don't have time to put her. Hell, who knows? I mean, she might have even shown up in a deleted scene for all we know.
It's true.
I need more T'Lyn.
Yes.
What have you got, Lars? What do you got for good, bad, ugly?
Well, okay, so no ugly for me. Good, of course, is pretty much how they play out and how they turn on the love letter stuff. Again, how much they pay homage to the original series and Enterprise. I loved even to the point where they kind of, I think it was a little bit of a callback to DS9 as well with the different food vendors. I thought it was hilarious though that the day was saved by Chad and his corn dogs. I was like,
and the doctor clocking a whale with a net.
Yes, and don't let's not forget the doctor who had partially evolved into one of those salamander creatures from Next Generation, the one that Geordi had turned into, and he was half, like a third of his face or almost half his face is like this one of these creatures, and he's like, oh, I was able to stop it before it got all the way. And it's like, how did you not get it to reverse?
But like, he was the important thing was he was British.
Of course. So yeah, definitely no ugly for me on this one. Bad. I mean, I really can't. I can't find it.
T'Lyn.
Okay, fine. No T'Lyn.
There you go.
Just you have a majority voice on that one. How about you, Mike?
So my good is going to be a little obscure. I mean, I thought it was a fine episode. It's, to me as a veteran, it's like, oh, it's Fort Polk in space. That's what this is. The place that nobody wants to go. It's run down. It's old. Nobody wants to go there. It's Fort Polk. My Good is very obscure, I think, and I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. And I checked, listened to it twice to make sure, since this has got the kind of the creepy zombie aspect to it. They actually play a little bit of the music from the movie Event Horizon.
I did not hear that.
I was like, that sounds familiar. So I went and checked online, and sure enough, they did kind of tap the music from Event Horizon. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Kids, if you're watching or listening to us, kids, don't watch that movie. Of course, now you're going to go watch it because we told you not to. But I'm just saying.
It's terrible, but it's fun terrible.
Yeah. Nothing. I'm with you guys. There's nothing particularly bad.
Except for...
to Lynn. Yes.
Thank you. There we go. We win. Everybody agrees we need more to Lynn. Yeah. She's the cowbell of Lower Decks.
We always need more cowbell.
More cowbell. Yeah, but nothing ugly at all. I mean, it was a good, solid episode.
Well, all of Starbase 80 was pretty ugly, but ugly in the good way, not the ugly in the way meaning.
Yeah. I did like, it was another piece, was Captain Freeman. You can see, up until now, it's been, Boimler's been the one who's really shaken by meeting his alternate self, who was so successful and so confident. And he's like, I want to be that guy, right? And
brings us to,
and it's the exact opposite for her, that she doesn't want to be who she was in the alternate universe. So you can see like she is really hell bent on, I'm not going to be that person.
The dreaded Captain Becky Freeman.
Yeah, which was basically a female. Captain Jellicoe.
Yeah, pretty much. Except hotter.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
I had to go there. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Wait a minute. We've got to do Boimler Beard Watch. Da 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 da. Ooh, you got a banner.
Look at that.
So
yeah, as you can see here, I've got a rotating slide show of
an empty slide.
Yes, for 5 seconds. Isn't that great? It's great.
There we go. See, there's no Beard Boimler
from episode 1.
Yep. We get 6 hairs.
Yeah, from episode 2.
I can't see it. And we got a little bit more hair. He's kind of getting he's got a puberty mustache.
Yep.
Now he's got that little pencil mustache.
Yep.
And then we get 70s porn stash with the goatee. So we're getting some Boimler. I think he will get to a full beard and then shave it off because he's Boimler.
Of
and
course.
We need that fresh-faced insane ensign, lieutenant, whatever.
Yeah, I want to see how far he makes it. I'm thinking we'll see a Van Dyke, and then we'll see the full beard, and after that, I don't know.
But yeah, Mike, the awesomeness of the beard.
I think the same thing. I think he'll grow the beard. I think he'll grow it out. He'll look just like his alternate self, and then he will decide to get rid of it because he doesn't want to be his alternate self. He just wants to be him.
I don't know. His alternate self was pretty damn cool. Like,
yeah, he was, but still, it's just something. It's something that's underscoring. I think if there was a serialized portion of the story, I think his beard is kind of more a what do you call it? A coherent story than the man. I can't think of the word. The space rifts that keep opening up.
Yeah, I don't think we had any in the Starbase 80 episode, but oh well. Not going to worry about that because I think we're done here. So we're halfway through the final season of Lower Decks. We got 5 episodes left. So let us know what you think. Did we get this right or did we miss something massive? And mind you, with the length we have, we're going to miss a few things because we got to get through a lot of episodes. So I just want to thank you for joining us here on Treknicity, where we do the deep dive, multiple times sometimes, on all things in Star Trek. I'm your host, Patrick Murray. With me are my co-hosts, Lars DeSenza and Mike Raper. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Treknicity.com, as well as visiting all our socials listed here, or you find us on your favorite podcast service, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. I see all our socials, Facebook, Blue Sky. I'm not seeing that one. Okay, I'm not seeing that one site. That's good. Okay, if you have any ideas for future episode subjects, please feel free to email us at show@Treknicity.com, or just DM us on any of our social media accounts, or hit the Discord server, because we're always there. Always. And as always, time to rock out with your Spock out.
See you next time.